Hello and welcome to the wrap-up on UCFM, your on-air bulletin for all the latest in news and events from across the UC community. It's week 10 of semester 1. I'm your host Ben, and I'm joined today by two new hosts. This is Bonnie and Mia. Welcome to the show, I guess.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Well,
yeah, it's very good.
How have you guys found the past week of university?
Pretty hectic. Got a lot of assignments due.
Oh, yeah.
Things are happening, but looking forward to our uni break coming up.
I think we're sort of in a little bit of like a dip between the second assignment and the final assignment. So it's I just finished being very busy and I'm about to get very busy again. So not necessarily exciting, but anyway. On today's show, we'll be chatting with Professor Kasia Bail about a new tool helping diagnose delirium, and later on we'll find out more about the Pathways to Politics for Women program and our weekly campus spotlight. We'll also have the latest community news and a weekly events guide.
Before we get into it, just a few quick reminders. Follow our socials at UCFM_87.8 to keep up to date with everything happening. Join the conversation today by sending us a message during the show on our text line 0415 774 405.
And if you haven't already, you can tune in to UCFM Live and anywhere by downloading the iHeartRadio app. Without further ado, let's wrap things up.
Now, to start this week's show, we're joined by Professor Kasia Bail from the Centre for Aging and Research and Translation, CARET, and she's a researcher at UC who has spent the last decade researching delirium. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. Now, I brought you on the show to talk about the PREDICT model, but before we do that, tell me what you've been doing in the past decade, I guess, researching delirium.
So I'm a registered nurse, so I work clinically as well. And it's something that you see your patients experiencing when you're looking after them, particularly in hospital. And it's really confronting. It's horrible to see people when they're confused or vulnerable. And it's an area that we're not necessarily that strong at responding to because it's so unique each time. So my PhD was actually looking at complications of people with dementia in hospital, and delirium was one of those complications. And so people with dementia are up to 3 times as likely to get a delirium as people without dementia.
Yeah, and tell me about, I guess, the genesis of the creation of the tool that's brought you here today.
Yeah, so the PREDICT tool is the Prevention and Early Delirium Identification Carer Toolkit. And so the point of it is that because we recognise it's not just about staff recognising that delirium and that confusion, but helping carers and loved ones to also recognise it. You guys might have seen an aunt or an uncle or a mum or a dad or your cousins or brothers and sisters in hospital, and you think, oh, they're a bit different to how they usually are, and not just because they're unwell, but maybe the way they're speaking is different or the way that their brain seems to be working is different. And so this toolkit is to help you also be able to communicate those changes with the healthcare professionals to better pick it up, better identify it, and then respond to it faster.
Yeah, and I know it's only just recently been released, but have you found any response? How have you found the response, I guess, so far as it's been released to the community?
Yeah, so we've got a fantastic team here in Canberra who've been implementing it in Canberra. It's also being implemented at a couple other hospitals around the country. We've had great uptake, really good pickup from the nurses on the wards and the other health professionals, and the carers really interested in learning about it. It's obviously tricky because it's really quite overwhelming when a loved one is in hospital and there's lots of things to learn about, but this is really trying to simplify it, and so that if they're seeing something different, that they can go to the website or they know the kind of language to talk to about to pick it up. And we're getting really good response. The response from the health professionals is like, sometimes it's like, oh my God, do I have to do one more thing? But then when they see what the toolkit's about, they're like, oh my God, this is fantastic. This is exactly what we need.
Yeah, and how do you see the PREDICT tool maybe influencing the future developments in this space?
So if it's successful, so with a trial like this, you're trying to see whether you have a positive impact. And so we're looking at length of stays and delirium rates, as well as the delirium knowledge of those carers. So if we have positive rates of those, if we have that kind of positive result, then it's something that will be able to be rolled out further across the country, made freely available rather than just within a trial setting.
Yeah, and I guess on a more personal note to the team at the centre, how do you guys see your future role and your future research, I guess, in this space?
We're really interested in that translation component, and that's why it's part of our name. Obviously, we can do a whole heap of research and find out what are the better ways to identify it and how do we educate staff, but we really want to see that impact on the community, working with other consumers to really try and make that difference. That's actually why we love doing radio and things like that, because it's not just getting a single research, perfected out there. It's actually trying to get that real impact and translation across the community, and raise that awareness. Delirium happens to anybody, not just people over 65, not just people with dementia, and it can be treated, but you've got to act early, and that's what we're really hoping to do with the program.
Yeah, and I guess generally just about delirium, I will admit that I don't know a lot about it. How do you see, I guess, your role, but I guess the general state of how the public understands delirium?
I was really surprised, I have to say. We did a bit of a kind of media spruik when we were first launching this, and even the health reporters who I thought would have a good understanding didn't necessarily know about it. So it's like an acute brain failure. So dementia is like a long-term chronic condition, whereas delirium is an acute, rapid onset and potentially resolvable condition. And so sometimes it's just that you've got an infection that your body can't quite respond to and your brain fails, the neurotransmitters can't kind of do their job. Or it might be you've had a change in medication, or you've had surgery, you've had other things that have triggered these changes and made you more confused, and that's how it comes across. So your executive function starts failing. You start seeing spiders, crawling across the roof, or gorillas in the lift. We've had all sorts of different examples. So it's quite terrifying. But that brain failure is resolvable. We don't understand exactly all the mechanisms, and that's why the treatment is non-pharmacological primarily, and trying to prevent whatever's contributing to it. So if it's the infection, we can resolve it. But keeping the person oriented, keeping them aware of who they are and where they are and what time it is and what day it is. And sometimes in hospital, it's a bit like the studio, there's not many windows, you can't see what time of day it is, and it's not your usual surroundings, and that adds to your confusion. So the more that we can help people understand, helping people to feel normal and know who they are, and having conversations with loved ones helps them stay oriented, more of a difference that we can make to their outcomes.
Yeah, and as you've mentioned, this is a trial. It's a 3-year trial, as I'm aware. How do you see the toolkit going beyond this if it is successful?
We've already had lots of interest, and even people in the community, so sharing it with GPs and people living in community settings, because again, you can get delirium when you're at home, not just when you're in hospital. So we can imagine that it becomes kind of broadly accessible, so that anybody who's looking for ways to identify delirium in their loved one, or that different health professionals can link people to it. We obviously use flyers and other kinds of handouts, but that particular kind of education provided on the website, and then this toolkit that's got an assessment tool that helps them just answer yes/no questions, and then gives them a number, and if a number's higher than a particular number, then they go and talk to a health professional and say, I think my loved one's got delirium.
And back to the development of this program itself, and I'm very interested to see that you guys have 2,500 participants. What's the centre's relationship with the community to be able to have such wide-ranging, long-running trials like this?
So we work really hard, and this was with Christina Agar and the team up at Uni Southern Cross, to co-design with participants. So we go out to community members, perhaps people who've experienced delirium or their loved ones have, and we use their opinions and their kind of stakeholder groups to have conversations, and we get them to keep testing the tool. We get them to keep looking at the resources that we're making and say whether it makes sense to them or not, whether it's friendly to them, whether it's accessible. And so that constant kind of, cycle of going to the community and asking for that feedback, and people who've got some experience but not professional expertise, is often what makes the difference in terms of making them successful or not.
Yeah, and I guess at its heart, the idea of this toolkit is obviously diagnosing delirium. So I guess just to finish this off, what would you say to someone who might see delirium in their life after this interview?
If there's something that makes you concerned and you're like they're not their normal selves, then you're trying to unpack more. So go looking. Don't hesitate. And it's okay. It's often a bit of a fact-finding mission, but that's what the team is there for as well. Sometimes it's less obvious. It's not like if you've got a sepsis that you've got some clear signs and symptoms. Delirium can be very specific to an individual. So trust your gut. You know your loved one better than anybody else, and do respond to it. And then, you're using a toolkit like this to then lead those conversations with the health professionals, because they want to make the difference too. We're all trying to aim for that good positive health outcomes best that we can for anyone who we're looking after.
And how can people find out more if they're interested in learning about the work of the centre?
Yeah, if you Google Predict and delirium, you'll find out more about the Predict trial. And if you want to know more about CARAT, look up the Centre for Ageing Research and Translation, or CARAT UC will find you there, but CARAT.
Of course.
But we do get a little bit obsessed with using carrot gimmicks all the time because, the carrot's like the vegetable.
Of course.
It's too much fun.
Well, the whole point of having an acronym is to spell out a word, right?
Exactly.
Well, yeah. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Kasia, for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's now time for the UC News wrap-up. Researchers at the University of Canberra have been granted an investment of $3.5 million to support Papua New Guinean food security. The significant investment was granted by the Australian Centre for International Agricultural Research, ACIAR, to help communities in rural areas strengthen food systems affected by climate change. The project, named Sargo Plus, was co-designed with local communities in Western Province, PNG, and aims to focus on preserving traditional farming systems built on Indigenous knowledge and gathering data. Sargo Plus will be held by Dr. Anne Hill from the Faculty of Education over the course of 5 years. Dr. Hill's expertise in food systems and community food economies has allowed her to participate in community development projects in Australia and Southeast Asia.
Yeah, well, that sounds really exciting to me. Food security is obviously a very important issue, and I'm always interested to hear about some of the stuff that we're doing overseas as well. It's very exciting to know that UC is very international in scope. Well, I guess a story that isn't just UC, but it's beyond. It's related to us. Lime scooters and e-bikes have officially arrived in Canberra. Launched on the 16th of April, a new transport service will run under a 3-year permit granted by the ACT government, replacing the Orange Neuron Mobility e-scooters. The new fleet includes 1,200 e-scooters and 300 e-bikes across major town centres in Canberra, with an updated long-range battery ranging to 64 kilometres.
Hey, I'm also here, guys. Hi,
Yes.
AJ's here.
No ride zones and speed limits have been established in different parts of the CBD alongside the rollout of the new transport options. The ACT government and Lime are accepting feedback on the fleet and say they have ambitions to expand the locations beyond present capacity.
Have you guys seen the ones around campus already? The Lime bikes? And the scooters?
I see these things everywhere, so...
Did you guys know that the orange ones got cancelled?
No, I didn't. I just see
I
them
heard about that, yeah.
in bushes, under bridges.
Well, you're not going to see them in orange
Yeah.
anymore. They're going to be white and green. Well, there you go.
That's exciting. Love a colour
and green.
change. Love a white and green colour change. Anyway, that's the latest news from around campus. And it's now time for the Campus Spotlight. This week I had the opportunity to sit down with the current program lead for the Pathways to Politics Women program here at UC. Let's have a listen. Well, I'm joined today by Chris Wallace, who is a professor at the Canberra School for Government, who's going to speak to me about the Pathway to Politics for Women program. Welcome to the studio.
Hello.
Well, yeah, just to start us off, what's the idea behind the Pathway to Politics for Women program?
So back in the day, there used to be a time when literally everybody in politics was a man. That might seem really weird to young ears today, but there's been an awful lot of blood, sweat and tears put into trying to diversify who's in politics, who has a voice, who gets to try and get things done. And of course, it's not just a gender issue. You need lots of diversity in politics. You need people who come from different places, backgrounds, different lived experience. But Pathways to Politics for Women, the program, was set up, in fact, because of the outrage of a particular Melbourne businesswoman, Carol Schwartz, who was outraged quite a number of years ago when the then federal government's cabinet only had one woman in it. And Carol Schwartz thought, this is an outrage, what a waste of talent. And she set out to do something about it. She established the Pathways to Politics for Women program in conjunction with the University of Melbourne. So the Schwartz Foundation, the Trawalla Foundation and the University of Melbourne started the program 10 years ago to help women get the skills, get the confidence, get the connections to actually run and get elected. And in that 10-year period, incredibly, 95 alumni of the program have actually got elected to federal, state
Wow.
or local parliament. So, it's an incredible metric. This is a program that works. The women who do it do get skills, do get the networks, do get helped in terms of experience and confidence. To turn that idea of I would like to get involved, I would like to get good things done for my community, to actually doing it. And that's an awfully big, hard leap, and Pathways is there to smooth that path.
Certainly. Well, for anyone who would be interested in getting involved, what does the program actually look like from someone just starting out?
So it's not like an academic course. It's not something you do for credit at UC. We who organise it and run it in Canberra are all at UC, and if you sign up for the program, you do it at UC. But basically, it's a commitment to 5 or 6 days in-person attendance in blocks of 2 days at a time between August and October each year. And so it culminates in a really amazing finish with the women involved giving their stump speech that they've worked on for the whole program in the Senate chamber of Old Parliament House.
Oh, wow.
It's a really incredible event, a lot of pride, a lot of happiness, a lot of sense of satisfaction that these women came in at the beginning with hopes and then turned it into quite a long way down the path of trying to actually get into politics. So it involves examining the why of why you want to get into Parliament, what you're about, what your values are, and then getting some of the skills and practicing some of the skills in a safe space away from critical eyes in terms of, for example, how do you handle the media? How do you talk to voters? And one of the really magic things in the course is experienced politicians, current and ex, come along and talk very candidly, Chatham House rules, what gets said in the room stays in the room, and the candidates in Pathways can actually not only listen but ask and discuss real-life political experiences with these politicians.
That sounds very exciting. Well, I mean, what have you heard from the people who have gone through the program about, I guess, their honing of their skills from start to end?
Well, of course, everyone's starting from a different position, and that goes for all of the Pathways candidates every year. Some people have had a bit of experience, some have had none, some are in parties, some can't stand the thought of parties and want to be indies. I mean, there's a huge range of people. One of the things that's very important in the program is a culture of respect. So initially, no one knows the political views of the other Pathways participants. And in fact, I was discussing with one of last year's grads what she thought was good about the program, and she said one of the things she loved most was she got to know the other women before she learned what their politics were. And she said she would not have got to know some of those women because of their politics. But that kind of blindness in that initial kind of opening days of it was really helpful. And of course, that can carry over positively into real-life politics, because if you've been in the Pathways to Politics program for women, there's a local and a national network of alumna that have all been, brought up through the same system, and mutual respect and being constructive, playing nice is a very key part of that process.
Yeah, and you've mentioned the success that the program has found already. Why do you think it's important for the program to continue into the future?
Well, one of the reasons is it's very patchy progress when you look at women in politics. So in the case of the Labor Party, Labor adopted quotas. They don't really have a gender issue anymore. The federal Labor government, for example, and the ACT Labor government has at least 50% women, not only in their ministries but in their party rooms. So it's kind of fixed in a way. That doesn't mean that individual Labor women coming along can't benefit from the Pathways program. It just means they're going into a party situation which is a bit more friendly and comfortable than otherwise. If you look at the Conservative side of politics, on the other hand, there are no quotas. And, for example, the Liberal and National Party rooms, if you look federally, I think it's 3 out of 4 members of Parliament are blokes. So it's a bit of a man cave, a bit less friendly for women. People on that side of politics probably need even more support to get that confidence to go forward. And, of course, in the independent space, there are a lot of women. You could actually argue that the moderate wing of the Liberal Party is currently sitting on the federal crossbench, for example. And there's a lot of room for coming into the program with an idea of where you sit, but that might change as a result of doing the program. You just never know how people's ideas are going to evolve through participation.
Of course. And what would you say to any UC students in particular who are listening right now and they might be a little too nervous, or they're sitting on the fence but leaning towards not attending? How would you encourage them to attend such a program?
Well, this is an opportunity for everyone in the UC community and beyond in Canberra and the region. I should emphasise this is not just about federal politics, it's about territory politics, it's about state politics in our surrounding region. We cover basically Canberra to the south coast and down to the southern New South Wales border, Victorian border rather. And local politics can be really important. We've had really good participation from Queanbeyan and Palerang Council, potential candidates and so forth. So it's Canberra people, UC people, regional people, South Coast people. You know, there's lots of scope in the program. For UC people, there's students, there's academic staff, and there's professional staff. And there are potentially really good candidates in all of those areas. A couple of candidates last year were, in fact, UC students. People sometimes think if you're young that you can't go into politics, and we know that's not true. Anyone who follows British politics closely, for example, will have seen Hannah Green, who's a 24-year-old plumber, just get elected to the British Parliament. So we need all sorts of voices, and I know for a fact in the UC community, the Canberra community, the surrounding community, there are a lot of potential candidates for parliamentary life who could really make a contribution. And Pathways to Politics for Women is the way women can take that next step with our assistance. And of course, the other thing is, the wonderful thing is the Trawalla Foundation fully funds this program, so it's absolutely and completely free.
Of course, yeah. Well, I guess getting into the basic details of it, how long does the program run?
So it begins in August, it ends in October. Successful applicants come along for 2 days, back-to-back in August. We do that again in September, same thing in October, culminating in giving a stump speech in the Senate chamber of Old Parliament House. It's just totally magic.
Of course, yeah. And for anyone who, once again, for anyone who's interested, how can they find out more?
Just hop on to Google it, mate. Pathways to Politics for Women. Applications close on April the 30th. If you're really interested in running for politics, this is a seriously good program to do. And you've got to ask yourself, in the current world we're in now, you know, if not me, who?
Of course.
If not now, when? As you will have heard some politicians say. There's some serious issues happening, folks, so it's definitely time to get involved.
Of course. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Chris Wallace, for joining me on the wrap-up.
Pleasure.
What's on tonight?
So, on tonight, the UC International Club is hosting their second stress-free swim at the AIS Aquatic Centre. Join them from 5 to 7 p.m. to de-stress in an indoor heated pool. Visit the UCIC rubric page to secure your membership and register your attendance. And Nashville musician Cody Pennington will be at the UC Hub for his 2026 Australian tour. He'll play modern and classic hits alongside his own original tracks to check out. So check out Mosh
Tix
for tickets.
Well, let's check out those tickets.
Love them. The amount of times I say Mosh Tix on this show is why.
Country music fans,
do you guys like country music?
I had a whole heap, like 2 hours worth of dosed country music. I did whip cracking on campus today.
Yeah,
teaching
witnessed that. That was awesome.
People, yeah.
Too bad Leela's not here. She had a country music show.
Previous
once upon a time.
alumni of
That
UC.
could
She
be
used
you.
to produce this show, so shout out to Leela.
Shout out Leela, I love you. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, what else, Ben?
UC is getting ready for Unisport Nationals, with sporting students getting a chance to represent the university in a number of events. Trials for netball, football, OzTag and basketball will be held between April 20th and May 1st, so check out the UC events page to register at interest and see all available time slots. Students who pass their trial will travel to Perth in September to compete, which is very exciting. What do you think about that, AJ?
I'm really not good at sport. I'm really not good at sport.
Fair enough.
But I would gladly support anyone who would be interested in it. Netball was one that I did when I was a bit younger. I am a 5 foot tall woman. Let's just make that very clear. Guess what they put me on? Yes, it was goal defense. Don't know why they did that. But anyway, maybe someone else will take my place and do very well outside of that.
I'll put you on goal defense.
Yeah.
For Uni Nationals.
For Uni Nationals, yeah. Anyway, yeah, what's happening next, Mia?
On Thursday, April 23, we have UC's own handmade markets, which are in the refectory from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And head along and you'll see a range of crafts straight from UC students. So if you're interested in hosting a stall at the event instead, booking forms are still live on the UC events page. And on Friday, April 24th, Student-Led Association of Physiotherapy, or UC SLAP, SLAP, is hosting a presentation with Paralympics Australia, all about exploring the intersection of disability, sport and allied health practice. This event is from 5 to 7 p.m. on campus and attendance is free, so check out the UC SLAP rubric for ticket info.
Yeah, and I mean, that sounds exciting to me. I will also say I didn't add this into the script because the presentation is the important thing, but there will be free pizza as well.
Hey.
So,
Oh my gosh, free food.
head along.
I just love that name, UC SLAP.
Yeah.
SLAP, Did you guys hear that?
That's the name.
All right, what else is happening on Friday?
Kenan T is also stopping by UC Hub for his Constellations tour. His storytelling and vocals have earned him 300 million streams, so this isn't one to miss. Check out Moshtics for tickets.
Yeah, Kenan T. We've been hearing a lot about him.
Well, he was on the radio show. If you want to go back to that episode,
where can you find that, Ben?
On ucfm.com.au or on your favourite podcast platform.
Exactly. Yeah, check out all the other stuff on there as well. Follow us on Instagram.
Well, check out Kenan T as well.
Yeah.
I might be there, so...
We might be there. What else is happening on Saturday, Bonnie?
UC Snow Sports, I'm highly jealous. I should have signed up for that. Is hosting their annual Jindy trip to Jindabyne, New South Wales. The pre-season snow sports trip is a great far away trip for students interested in getting a head start to the ski season and will be ran over this weekend. Starting on Saturday morning, the group will head back to Kookaburra Lodge in Jindabyne along with ANU Snow Sports for a weekend full of activities, foods, drinks and elite vibes.
Nice. For
more information on the trip and tickets, check out the UC Snow Sports rubric page to find out more.
Yeah, and you did say that you're jealous that you couldn't go. Did we get it wrong and the tickets aren't available anymore? Is that the case?
Is that what's happening?
As far as you're aware, maybe?
I don't know.
In that case, yeah, because I was worried that they weren't available, but I think there's last minute opposite of early bird tickets available.
I will say check out that rubric page because then you'll know more than us.
Yeah.
But I'm sure,
yeah.
Have a look.
Well, on Tuesday, April 28, if you're thinking about getting a run in, now is your chance to start because the UC Stars Run Club are hosting their Tuesday run with UC Lodge Shouting Coffee for all members, and that will now run every second Tuesday as well, so
nice.
A lot of future opportunities as well. Tuesday runs are from 7 to 8 a.m. and membership info is on their rubric page.
Very cool.
On Thursday, April 30th, Melbourne Bogan Funk Band Play Lunch are stopping by the UC Hub on their 29-date regional tour across Australia. They'll be playing from their new release, Sex Ed. Debuting last August, the album eventually hit number 7 on the ARIA Australian Artist Charts. So check out the UC events page and visit destroyaliness.com for tickets and info.
I think when I put that in the script, I thought it was that. I think it's destroy all lines.
That makes sense.
It does look like
not to call you out, but I didn't know that either. So
Let's destroy all alley-ness, guys. No.
have you guys heard Play Lunch before?
Nope.
Nope.
I think
love
that they
them.
were on.
Great.
Were they here for Stonefest one year?
I do believe so.
Yeah.
I do like their branding. If you guys get a photo
Yeah.
of them at some point, they are very, like, the whole name in itself is like a play on, like, you know, lunch at school and stuff. So it's all of them
course.
with like kids.
Yeah, well, I
equipment
mean,
and
they
stuff. It's
seem
a
to
lot
be
of
on
fun.
the up and up. So
Yeah.
check them out.
Very cool band. Nice.
And Friday, 1st of May, we have the UC Hoedown. It's back. So we've been promoting it today. We had chicken tendies,
Nice. Cool.
country music, and we had me, who was teaching people how to crack a whip for 2 hours. Lots of fun.
Yeah.
It's at the UC Refectory from 6 p.m. This year, they'll have a photo booth, line dancing, live music, themed drinks, and a returning classic, the Mechanical Bull.
Oh my gosh.
This
yeah,
event.
and I assume. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's all good.
I assume you'll be there as well.
I
with a
will
whip.
be with my whip, so please do come along.
I mean, I will say I was there last year. As I said before we started, I whipped myself a lot, and I fell off the bull like an embarrassingly like soon time after it started. So
I will say, when I was there the first time on the Mechanical Bull, so someone recorded me, and like, you know how you watch the videos of people doing it and they're like moving with it and they're staying on. I thought I was doing the best that I had ever done, and I looked back on the video and I was doing the most for no reason. I look like a damn fool. So if you want to make yourself look like a fool, definitely go. Didn't you say the event was free, Bonnie?
It is free and never one to miss out, so we'll see you there.
There you go.
yeah, and we will see you there because I'll be going, and you'll be there too.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's all that's happening around UC, but it's also not all that's happening around UC. So make sure to check out the UC events pages and UC socials for more info in these events and to find out everything else that's happening around UC. Well, that's all we have time for today, but thanks for joining us on The Wrap Up. You can listen to this episode of The Wrap Up and past episodes on our website, ucfm.com.au, or find the podcast version wherever you get your podcasts. Of course, don't forget to follow our socials at UCFM_87.8.
And there's always something happening around campus, so make sure to keep an eye out on UC socials and the Student Bulletin.
We'll be back again next week to keep you up to date with what's going on across the UC community. But until then,
That's a wrap.